The feeling someone or something was watching her. She opened her eyes and looked carefully around her room. Everything was as she had left it. The small angel nightlight near her nightstand shed just enough light for her to see. There was her dresser, overcrowded with accumulated knickknacks, cards from her 8th birthday 2 months ago, a paperback book about a lost dog, and an odd assortment of seashells from the last time the family went to the shore. There was her tall bookshelf that held, well, books, of course, a variety of games, and more stuffed animals than she could possibly play with in a lifetime. Then there was the closet. Oh no, she thought. She forgot to close the closet door before going to bed. Even worse, she forgot to pick up the heap of dirty clothes and toys piled on the floor in the corner of the closet. And sure enough, it was from there that something was watching her. It wasn't a big pile, but monsters don't need a lot of stuff in which to hide. They're very good at that, especially the small ones. She sat up and examined the closet from her bed, searching for anything that would give away the monster's position. Then she saw them. Its eyes, its red, beady eyes glowing from behind her Poconos Moonbeam Resort sweatshirt, hung haphazardly over her old toy guitar. Her eyes widened. The red, beady eyes in the closet widened. She let out a quick eep, and in one swift motion, whipped off the covers, swung her legs onto the floor, and sprinted to the door. She yanked it open and ran as fast as she could down the hall to her parents' bedroom. "Mom? Dad?" she asked breathlessly in her scared little voice. Her father shifted a little in his sleep. "Dad?" she said a little louder, reaching out and gently shaking him. He rolled over towards her, his eyes barely open, and asked in a thick, sleepy voice, "What is it, Rebecca?" She whispered so the monster would not hear her. "There's a monster in my closet." "No, there's not. Go back to bed." "But Dad," she persisted, "there is. I saw its eyes." There was no reaction from her father. "They were red," she added dramatically, as if that little addition might convince him. It didn't. "Rebecca, there are no monsters in your closet. It's late, and I have to get up for work in the morning. Now go back to bed." "But Dad, I can't. It'll eat me. You have to call 911. Her father let out a tired sigh. "Rebecca, I'm not going to call 911. Look, if you're nice to the monster, it'll be nice to you, okay?" Rebecca looked at him skeptically. "Are you sure?" "Yes, I'm sure. Now go back to bed." "Okay, but if it eats me, it'll be your fault." "Yes, dear." He rolled over and promptly fell back to sleep. If you're nice to the monster, it'll be nice to you. That's something she hadn't heard before, but it was worth giving it a shot. She crept back into her room, her eyes never leaving the open closet, and climbed back into bed. Rebecca stared at the closet. The eyes were gone. Well, she thought to herself, that's a good thing. She thought she would let her father know in case he changed his mind and called 911 anyway. "Hey, Dad," she belted out. "The monster's not in my closet anymore." She thought she heard him say good, but she wasn't sure. It could have been a snore. She began to relax when suddenly she heard something move under her bed, and it grunted. "Dad, the monster's under my bed now." She thought she heard her father mumble out another good. All right. It looked like she was on her own. She had nothing but her wits to use for self-defense. Be nice to it, and it'll be nice to her. Here, she sighed, goes nothing. "Hello, monster?" she said timidly. "It certainly is a lovely night tonight, isn't it?" Nothing. She gave it another try using her sweetest voice. "Would you like to come out and play a game?" Huh? It was a guttural voice that definitely came from under the bed. She had actually got the monster to respond, and it hadn't eaten her. Wait until she tells her dad in the morning. Be nice to the monster. How could she do that? Her eyes lit up. She could offer it some water. She reached over and grabbed the glass on her nightstand. Then she very slowly leaned over the side of the bed. What she saw was the top of the monster's head sticking out from under her bed, the two red eyes looking menacingly up at her. The sight of the thing startled her so much that she accidentally dropped the glass. It fell out of her hand and landed squarely on the monster's forehead with a clunk. The monster let out a hurt "Yay!" and ducked back under the bed. Rebecca winced. "Ooh, I'm sorry." She waited a few moments, not sure what to do, then spotted the games on her bookshelf. Maybe she could get the monster to play a game with her. That would be a nice thing to do. She decided to get out her duck game. It was for little kids, and she hadn't played it in years, so it wouldn't be a huge loss if the monster ate it. She swung her legs out and hopped off the bed. However, at that particular moment, the monster had decided to reach out from under the bed to grab the empty water glass. Rebecca's left foot landed directly on the monster's outstretched arm. The monster let out a painful "ah!" and yanked its arm back under the bed. "Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your arm there," Rebecca said apologetically. The monster let out a quiet little whimper. "Hey, do you want to play a game?" "It's called the duck game." She crossed the room over to the bookcase. The game was on the bottom of the top shelf with all her other games stacked on top of it. And as she was trying to lift up the other games with her left hand and pull out the duck game with her right, the monster emerged from under the bed. The monster was not that much taller than Rebecca. Well, it had to be in order to hide in her closet. It had a human form with long, mangy hair hanging down in front of its face. Its skin was rough and scaly, with patches of it missing, and its dark red eyes were set back in its head. As it crept up behind Rebecca with outstretched hands, its mouth opened to show a row of nasty, gnarled teeth. It was definitely a scary monster. Rebecca was struggling to get the game out from the bottom of the stack. It appeared to be stuck, so she gave it one big yank just as the monster reached her. The duck game box let loose and came flying out from the stack, smacking the monster right across the face, sending it tumbling backwards across the room. Startled, Rebecca whipped around to see the monster scurry back under the bed. "Ooh, that had to hurt. Sorry, monster." Maybe playing a board game with a monster wasn't the best idea, she decided, and put it back up on the shelf. What else did she have that she could use to be nice to the monster? Maybe something in her closet. She went to the closet, got down on her hands and knees, and began digging through the pile of dirty clothes and toys. She came across an old tennis racket, determined that it would not be a good idea to play tennis indoors with a monster, and threw it over her shoulder back into her room. The hard wooden handle hit the monster, who had unwisely chosen that moment to crawl back out from under the bed, right smack dab on its nose. It let out a startled "bah!" and clutched at its face in pain. Rebecca paused for a moment, thinking she had heard something, then kept rummaging. Finally, she decided that some music might be nice, so she grabbed the toy guitar. The monster, meanwhile, had recovered and was creeping back up behind her, with its bony fingers reaching out and its teeth bared. Rebecca, guitar in hand, rose up and wheeled around out of the closet, announcing triumphantly, "Let's play some music!" The monster, not being very fast and definitely not a quick learner, failed to duck out of the way as the guitar came around and caught it dead center on the side of the head. Bonk! The monster let out a yelp and scurried over into the corner of the room near the dresser. "Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. Are you all right?" Replied the dazed monster. Rebecca stepped halfway across the room, squatted down, and took a good look at the monster. She looked at the monster, and the monster looked back. Finally, Rebecca asked, "What kind of soap do you use on your face? It really looks awful." The monster asked quizzically. Then, remembering why it was there in the first place, it snarled and showed its teeth. "Ew," Rebecca said disgustedly. "When was the last time you brushed your teeth? That's really gross." Taken aback, the monster let out another, "And haven't you ever heard of dental floss? Obviously not. The monster sat there, not knowing quite what to do. I know, Rebecca said brightly. Let's do a makeover. It'll make you look 100 times better. She went over to her dresser, opened up the top drawer, and took out her makeup kit. Let's start with some mascara, shall we? Rebecca knelt down face to face with the monster and pulled out the mascara brush. She held it towards the monster's face as it eyed her cautiously. Now hold still. Rebecca moved in a little closer, and in doing so, her knee came down on the monster's ragged toe. The monster yiped in pain. Its head whipped back and banged against the wall, bounced off, came forward, and poked its eye into the mascara brush Rebecca was holding. The monster yiped again, threw its head up in pain, and banged its head on the bottom of the open drawer. The monster let out a loud shriek and scrambled over to the closet. By the time Rebecca got over to the closet, the monster was trying desperately to dig its way back under the pile of dirty clothes and toys. Don't you want to play? Rebecca asked innocently. The monster paused long enough to shake its head and let out a panicked and went back to its digging. Rebecca sighed. I was only trying to be nice, you know. She slowly closed the closet door and turned to make her way back to her bed. Halfway there, she stopped, looked back at the closet, and shook her head. What a wimp. And Rebecca never had another monster in her closet again. The end. Hello?
For all of you who joined us tonight, thank you. And I hope that you enjoyed the story. Stephen will be having a recording of this that will be on our virtual page, and we hope that you could watch it on the virtual page if you missed anything. I do see one question. What was the origin? I will answer this. Hi, Janet, how are you? I'll answer this for Stephen. I think he popped off quickly. He wrote this story for his children. It was something that he did with his kids, and he really enjoyed doing it, and decided that some of the stories that he made up when he was tucking his girls in at night, that he would write a story about it. So it was a great little story. He did a great little job, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, it will be on the website if you want to view it again, or if you want to see it at some other point. I want to say thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll be able to do another one soon. Thank you, everybody. Oh, I'm glad your grandkids got to listen. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. Thank you.